At my sister's wedding, I was looking through the photographer's shots when I spotted something impossible in the background of one photo. A man I recognized immediately. My supposedly dead father, who had died in a car crash when I was 7. He was standing there, alive, watching the ceremony from behind a tree. When I showed the photo to my sister, her face went white, and she whispered, "Emma, we need to talk. Everything you know about our family is a lie." My name is Emma, and for 22 years, I believed I was an orphan. My sister Rachel, 8 years older than me, had been my guardian since our parents supposedly died in that horrific accident. She sacrificed everything, her college dreams, her youth, her relationships, to raise me. I worshipped her. She was my hero, my mother figure, my entire world. Rachel's wedding day was supposed to be perfect. After years of putting everyone else first, she finally found love with Marcus, a kind-hearted architect who adored her selfless spirit. The ceremony was intimate, held in the garden of the Victorian house where we'd lived together for 15 years. I was her maid of honor, tears of joy streaming down my face as she walked down the aisle. This was her moment, her happiness, the least I could do after everything she had done for me. But as the photographer clicked away, capturing every precious second, I had no idea that one of those innocent photos would shatter everything I thought I knew about my life. The reception was magical. Rachel glowed with happiness, dancing with Marcus under string lights as our small group of friends and extended family celebrated. Around 9 p.m., the photographer approached me with her camera, excited to show me some of the candid shots she'd captured. "Your sister looked absolutely radiant," she said, scrolling through image after image. "And look at this one. You can see the pure emotion on everyone's faces." I leaned in, smiling at the beautiful moments frozen in time. Rachel cutting the cake, Marcus's grandmother wiping away tears, the sunset casting golden light across the garden. And then I saw it. In the background of a wide shot taken during the ceremony, partially hidden behind an old oak tree at the property's edge, stood a man in a dark coat. He was clearly watching the wedding, but trying to stay concealed. The photographer had caught him by accident, just his profile, but it was enough. My blood turned to ice. The strong jaw, the distinctive nose that I'd inherited, the way he held his left shoulder slightly higher than his right. I knew that face better than my own, even though I hadn't seen it since I was 7 years old. It was my father, very much alive. My hands shook as I held the camera. Can you email me this photo?" I stammered. The photographer nodded, probably thinking I just loved the shot, but my mind was racing. How was this possible? I had been to his funeral. I had seen the closed casket. Rachel and I had grieved together, 2 broken little girls clinging to each other in our devastating loss. I found Rachel near the gift table, still glowing with wedding joy. "Rach, can I show you something?" I tried to keep my voice casual, but she immediately picked up on my tone. "What's wrong, Em? You look like you've seen a ghost." I showed her the photo on my phone screen, zooming in on the man by the tree. I watched her face transform. The color drained from her cheeks, her eyes widened in what I can only describe as pure terror. "Rachel," I whispered, "that's Dad." She looked around frantically, making sure no one was listening. Then she grabbed my arm with surprising force. "Emma, we need to talk. Not here, not now. Meet me at the house in an hour. Tell Marcus I had too much champagne and needed to lie down." "Rachel, everything you know about our family is a lie," she said, her voice barely audible. "And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." That hour felt like a lifetime. I sat in our living room, staring at the family photos on the mantle, pictures of our late parents, their memorial candles, the sympathy cards we'd kept all these years. Everything felt like a stage set now, props and an elaborate deception. When Rachel finally came through the door, still in her wedding dress, but with her makeup smeared from crying, she looked like a woman walking to her execution. "I need you to know," she began, settling across from me, "that everything I did to protect you. You were just a baby when it started. You don't remember what he was really like. What who was like? Dad? She nodded, tears flowing freely now. Emma, Dad didn't die in a car accident. He's been alive this whole time. And the reason I told you he was dead, the reason I've spent 15 years lying to you, is because he's dangerous. He's not the loving father you remember. He's a monster. The story that unfolded over the next hour destroyed everything I thought I knew about my childhood. Our father hadn't been the devoted family man I remembered. He'd been abusive, psychologically, financially, and eventually physically. My mother had been planning to leave him, to take us kids and disappear. She was going to run, Rachel said, her voice hollow. She had everything planned. New identities, a safe house, everything. But Dad found out. The night before we were supposed to leave, there was a fight. A terrible, violent fight. What happened to Mom? Rachel's silence stretched so long I thought she wouldn't answer. She fell down the stairs during the fight, hit her head. Dad said it was an accident, but Emma, I saw his face. I saw what he was capable of, and I knew that if we stayed, you'd be next. What Rachel told me next was like something out of a thriller movie, except it was my life. Our father hadn't been the devoted family member I remembered. He'd been abusive, psychologically, financially, and eventually physically. My mother had been planning to leave him, to take us kids and disappear. She had everything planned. New identities, a safe house, everything. But Dad found out. The night before we were supposed to leave, there was a fight. A terrible, violent fight. Rachel said, her voice hollow. She fell down the stairs during the fight, hit her head. Dad said it was an accident, but Emma, I saw his face. I saw what he was capable of. And I knew that if we stayed, you'd be next. So Rachel did something incredibly brave and incredibly desperate. She contacted our mother's aunt, an aunt I'd never heard of who lived 3 states away. Together they hatched a plan that would save our lives, but cost us our identities. We faked the car accident, Rachel admitted. Aunt Claire had a friend who worked at the morgue. We got 2 Jane Doe bodies, people who had died with no family to claim them. We staged the crash, planted Dad's wallet and Mom's jewelry. The bodies were too badly burned for identification. But the funeral? Empty caskets, Em. We were hiding at Aunt Claire's house, waiting for the heat to die down. Dad attended the funeral. He cried. He played the devastated widower perfectly. And when it was all over, when everyone believed we were dead, we came back with new identities. I became your legal guardian. We started over. The plan had worked perfectly for 15 years. Our father believed his wife and daughters were dead. He'd eventually remarried, started a new family. In his mind, we were a closed chapter. So how did he find us? I asked. Rachel's face crumpled. Social media. Marcus posted our engagement announcement on Facebook. It got shared thousands of times because of how sweet the story was. You know, the girl who raised her orphaned sister, finally getting her happy ending. Someone who knew our real identity from before must have seen it and recognized us. I started getting weird phone calls about a month ago. Hang-ups. Then yesterday, the day before my wedding, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. She showed me my phone. The message was simple, but terrifying. I know you're alive. We need to talk. He's been watching us, Rachel said, her voice shaking, following us, learning our routines. The wedding, I think he came to confirm it was really us, to decide what to do next. I felt sick. What does he want? I don't know. Money, maybe. Or he wants us back. Wants to finish what he started. She grabbed my hands. Emma, you have to understand. The man you remember, the daddy who read you bedtime stories and pushed you on swings, that person was an act. Underneath, he's capable of terrible things. We sat in our living room, still decorated with Rachel's wedding flowers, trying to figure out our next move. Call the police? But what crime had he committed? Being alive wasn't illegal. Attending a public wedding wasn't illegal. And our own fake deaths? We'd committed fraud on a massive scale. There's something else, Rachel said quietly. I hired a private investigator 6 months ago, just to keep tabs on him. make sure he wasn't getting close. The PI found some disturbing things. She pulled out on the Manila folder I'd never seen before. Inside were photographs, documents, police reports. Our father had remarried, as we'd thought, but his new wife had filed multiple domestic violence reports. There were restraining orders, hospital records. "He hasn't changed," Rachel whispered. "If anything, he's gotten worse. His new family, they're living the nightmare we escaped from." Looking back, what we decided to do next was probably insane, but we were desperate, scared, and running out of options. We couldn't run again. We had lives here, careers, relationships. Marcus didn't even know the truth about Rachel's past, and we couldn't just wait for our father to make his move. So we decided to take control of the situation. "We're going to meet him," Rachel announced, "on our terms. Public